Pierre, Nicollete, Tostee, thank you so much for joining us here on Coca News. Pierre, I'm going to start with you. You hail from Durban, you started surfing at 13, you are a pro surfer and you've won at J-Bay. What makes it so special to surf at Supers?
Surfing in Jeffreys Bay, it's one of the wonders of the world. It's one of the most iconic right-hand breaks in the world. And growing up as a little grom, seeing images of Sean Thompson and the legends surfing J-Bay was imprinted into my mind. And fortunately, I've been coming down from a very, very young age. It's been around 45 years of coming to J-Bay as a grom. And actually on one of my trips here, one of my first trips to Jeffreys Bay actually was with current number one, Geordie Smith, and his parents. We had just finished surfing the South African Surfing Championships in Cape Town in 1980. And on the way back to Durban, we stopped off in J-Bay and we caught iconic J-Bay at 6 to 8 foot. And as a little grom, it was just amazing. So it's special memories of traveling here with Graham and Llewellyn Smith. Okay. And Geordie was a distant thought, but now he's current world number one. And so, yeah, it's almost like a full circle. So it's amazing to come here.
That's an awesome story. Nicollete will be back, but we're going to ask, you are, welcome back. That's good, no? You are a event winner yourself.
Yes.
How do you feel about the event growing into a championship tour status?
Well, if we go back about 40 years and when we used to come here in the early days, this was just an open grass patch. We would sit here and watch the waves and just go to the local store, buy a Chelsea bun, a Coke and some milk and come and just surf all day. And there was no houses around here on where we are in Pepper Street. But you come back today and it's just grown so big in so many wonderful ways. And so it's just gone from a little event where we used to have a little caravan and a bus and Sharon and the great Rabbit Bartholomew running the event back in the early days as well, and to see what it's become now. And if you hear the surfers talk about J-Bay, they just say that this is one of their favorite stops on tour, you know. So you have Chopu in Tahiti, you have the North Shore in Hawaii, but J-Bay stands out in many, many ways. It's like an arena. It's like the Wimbledon of tennis. It's like the Monaco of Formula One. This is one of the most iconic events in the world. And it's a family event. People come, it's like midway between between Durban and Cape Town. And so you've got families driving down from Durban, you've got families coming up from Cape Town and even from inland. And it's just such a special venue.
Pierre, your brush with lightning in 1987 Down Under is legendary. What about that event, surviving that moment, spoke to you about life or fate?
We can't choose what happens to us, but I was very blessed to come through that incident, to be struck by lightning in a World Championship Tour event with a full beach. And just in Belito last week, one of the surfers was actually at the event in Newcastle in the late 80s, and he was just reminiscing, saying it was almost like he doesn't know if it was a dream or if it actually happened. It was just so surreal. Some people liken it to a Monty Python movie, one cloud on a hot sunny day, a bolt out of the blue, and a shot down onto the rock that I was just warming up and watching some of the surfers warming up for my heat. Some of the guys are actually here as coaches, and so I was zapped alongside another little youngster, Matthew Kugel, and he got the full brunt of it. I spent a night in hospital, and he was in life support for 10 days in intensive care, and eventually made a full recovery. But it was just a very unusual event. I'm one of 10 unlucky surfers in the world alongside Mick Fanning. He was bumped by a great white here at Jeffreys Bay, and so there's been some unusual events happen in surfing over the decades, and that one certainly stands out. And fortunately, I was well enough to come back into the competition the following day. The ASB World Tour at the time held my heat over to the next morning. I came out of hospital, the surf started to pump, and I made it all the way through to the finals of the BHP Steel International in Australia. and that final preceded the legends of Tom Curran and Mark Occhilupo, and Occhi won the event, and Occhi was here last year, and we were also talking about that lightning strike and just how freaky it was. But yeah, I made a full recovery, went on to the trials finals, and it's just memorable, so all good.
I think something interesting that he's leaving out of the story is that he wasn't discharged by the hospital. As a typical surfer, he looked out the window, saw the surf, and was like, I'm checking myself out to go and compete. So yeah, he got himself out of bed. But I think, like, that speaks to what we see in the pro athletes, is just that driven nature that they have. That just like literally not even a bolt of lightning could stop them from competing. And I think that's the draw of the ocean to surfers like Pierre, like that just never goes away.
That's amazing, yeah, well done. Pierre, moving now behind the lens, you captured a stunning photo of dolphins the other day, and it is on the Coco News article. What drew you to photography, and how does it compare emotionally to riding the waves?
Well, I must credit my art teacher in high school, Mr. Paul Litchkus. He's still teaching. I believe it's his last year of teaching at the Westville Boys High, and I want to go and connect with him before he leaves his position as the art teacher. But I studied art in high school, and photography was one of those subjects that I selected in art. And growing up reading surfing magazines and seeing these beautiful images, so obviously I'm a person who's driven by images and strong imagery, and I've shot 3 covers of Zigzag.
Okay.
I've been on the cover of Zigzag 3 times, and just growing up reading surfing and surfer, I've always loved photography, and so after the pro surfing, I ended up back on the world tour as the official digital photographer. So what a position to be in, with all my heroes, to be at all those events that I used to compete at. And then in 1999, when there was a digital revolution, I became the very first digital photographer. A friend of mine, Aaron Chang, lent me $25,000. He's from California, and what an amazing gesture for me to be able to buy that very first digital camera. And so that really just changed the nature of photography globally. It took all the other photographers a couple of years to catch up, and so that was a very important and thing in my photography career, to become the first digital photographer. Wow. And I believe it was 1999 when I captured that image of Joel Parkinson winning the Billabong Pro J-Bay as a young wild card, and him just jumping with joy after he won, and it went on 7 front pages of the newspaper around South Africa. It went to the Sydney Morning Herald, and it was right around the world. And so yeah, it's a pleasure to be behind the lens, having spent most of my career in front of the lens, being in magazines myself, and now I get to get up close to what I love, surfing, the ocean, and professional surfing. So
that's an amazing milestone. I mean, you are the first digital photographer. Thank you.
thank you.
We appreciate that. Now, as a surfer, you've got surfing instincts. Does that help when you want to capture that perfect shot? Can you anticipate it? Very briefly, tell us, how do you get that perfect shot?
Yeah, as a sports person, whether you're in Formula One or MotoGP or tennis, you got to have reactions, quick reactions. And just after spending decades in the ocean, and especially with dolphins, it's just so unique to surf with dolphins. It's a very precious experience. It's a magical experience. We feel safer around them when we're surfing with them. Surfed on waves with dolphins, and yeah, so it's a magical experience. And it's quite difficult shooting dolphins because you don't see them all the time when they leap out the water, so you're trying to predict where they're going to be and trying to get that shot. And so the wave that I captured, I could see them, and I was up in the tower documenting some of the behind the scenes, and I had my wide angle lens on, and I was able to position Griffin Colapinto right to the right so we could get all 18 dolphins in the wave. And it's just going to be, it's a gift. I can't create that. And just like surfing is a gift to me, photography is a gift to me, and that image became a gift, and it's already had tens of thousands of likes across a whole lot of social media channels, thousands of shares, hundreds of comments, and it was just a gift, you know. So I'm blessed to have an image like that. It's not branded because Griffin's quite small in the image, but the dolphins make the image, and so it'll just be one of those forever images.
Pierre, as a photographer, you have documented some of the biggest surfing events around the world. Which particular one are you most proud of?
It's very difficult to say which one is the most memorable moment. I would say some of the most memorable moments are capturing the rivalry of Kelly Slater, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, and Andy Irons, the late great Andy Irons. Their rivalry has been some of my most precious moments in surfing. You know, that Kelly Slater still today is one of the most iconic surfers, and capturing his wins at Jeffreys Bay or at Pipeline or at Teahupo'o in Tahiti, there's too many to remember. And so that intense rivalry of two diametrically opposed surfers and their rivalry, and so those were very special moments, as I mentioned, in places like Pipeline, Tahiti, Jeffreys Bay. Another iconic event was the Mundaka Pro in Spain, in the Basque Country. So it's difficult to choose one, and just capturing Kelly and Andy, those were some of my favorite moments on the World Tour.
Pierre, thank you so much for that. I'm going to move on to your better half now. Nicollete, you're an amazing woman. You've just had a baby 4 months ago. You're a working mom. How do you balance work and family life and having a baby?
Sure. I think as most women, during this period, we get to realize exactly like how phenomenally God created us, you know, being able to juggle so many different things. It's definitely not always easy, but I have to say, I think what helps in this journey is this amazing man next to my side. You know, like sometimes I could just I just need a moment, and sometimes I don't even need to say it. He just sees it, and then he, you know, like off he goes with Alexandre, and he spends a little bit of time with him, just giving me that extra moment. And I think now working on tour as well is. You know, I mean, as a mom, you know what those night hours are like. So, you know, you don't get a lot of sleep, and so he takes the early shift with the photography, and just let me get that extra hour of sleep. You know, and I think in that I'm lucky, and that helps. But I also know, you know, there's lots of women that unfortunately don't have that support in their partners. But I think if it wasn't for that, you know, it might have been a bit different.
Well, you are a powerful couple. You're creative. You do work together. Okay, tell me, how do you work together? Because that's very unique. Not everybody can master that.
Yes, and I know there's a lot of people that will say, you know, like, don't ever work with family. And I get where they're coming from, because sometimes there is fireworks, you know, like sometimes it's smooth sailing and other times not so much. But I think it's just like making sure that the communication is there, conflict management skills need to be there. We don't always get it perfect, but, you know, we also, you know, like learn and grow as we go. But yeah, there's definitely like a lot of, it makes it very special knowing that there's something like that you can build with your partner. And I'd hope that everybody would be able to, you know, it also teaches you a lot about your partner, you know, having to work with them and having to make sure that the boundaries is there between what is your personal space and what's the working space, and, you know, how you navigate the times when that does, you know, those lines get a little bit blurred.
So photography is your family business. I'm going to ask each of you, what is your favorite photo and why? And I'm going to start with you, Nicollete.
Just behind the scenes, we had to think about this for a while. So my favorite photo has got to be, and it's something I took with my cell phone. Pierre and I both love going to the Spur, and he was about 10 days old when we took him for the first time, and we'd laid him out on the couch, and there's this photo that I had taken from his feet, which basically just shows this part with him lying with his hand, which he always does, lots of negative space, almost a little bit of a grayscale. And I have to say, of anything, like, that's probably, probably my favorite shot. There's obviously some photos that I take of Pierre when he's sleeping because he's got the most beautiful hands, but I can't. Yeah.
So he's a hand model.
Exactly. Yeah. He's just got like such like the artist hands, you know. Like I just love. They've got so much character, and I know he's worked hard his whole life. So, So between the baby and the husband's hands.
Well, I can see why you work well together. Feet and hands. I mean, that's awesome. You, Pierre?
I was shooting in the wilderness about 30 years ago, and I shot an image of David Pfaff, and it went on the cover of Zigzag. But in that session, I shot a photo of a dolphin just jumping out the wave. And dolphins are timeless, and events come and go, but nature stands forever. And so that image also turned into one of my most iconic images. And so, yes, another dolphin image, but I think it's now being challenged. If I've got one dolphin jumping out the water, out of the wave, and now I've got 20 just flowing through with one surfer, I think that photo is going to be challenged now. So, yeah, and it was also a great way to start off the J-Bay Open with that iconic image. So, pretty happy with my dolphin photos.
Yeah. But I think wasn't there another one that was also that made the cover of New York magazine? Or
No,
New
I
York
shot another
newspaper?
dolphin image of, it was in the LA Times, and I was shooting the US Open at Huntington Beach, and I shot another famous surfer, Rob Machado, and also a dolphin leapt out right next to him, and I sort of anticipate these moments, you know. So there's been quite a few dolphin surfers instincts at the Bolito Pro just last week. I also managed to capture some dolphins leaping with joy, and that also went viral and got a lot of attention. So certainly my dolphin images tend to get more likes than my action images.
Well, now you keep going from dolphin to action, and you clicking Pierre's hands and Alexandre's feet, and I'm sure that's going to grow as he grows up. And yeah, you guys are an amazing couple.
Cool.
Thank you for your time and enjoy, and we're looking forward to seeing more shots.
Amazing, thank you.
And more sleep.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.